Good morning. I'd like to start today's workshop with a short story that a friend of mine, who's a state trooper, recently told me. Now, a large tractor-trailer truck was heading down Route 85 in morning rush hour, and as it was going under a railroad overpass, came to a screeching halt as it didn't quite make it through the other side. Now, as you can imagine, traffic on both sides of the highway came to a halt as this accident was unfolding. Immediately, police were called, fire departments were called, the railroad company was called, local trucking companies came out to help. And they tried towing that truck back in the direction it came from, but that truck wouldn't budge. They tried to push it through as it was almost out the other end. That truck did not budge. Someone actually came up with the bright idea of using an acetylene torch to soften up the tracks, to move that tractor forward. But of course, the railroad would have none of that, didn't want to compromise the integrity of their tracks. So traffic is building up, people are getting out of their cars. Everyone has a suggestion, it's mayhem out there. And this friend of mine, the state trooper, said this little boy is trying to get his attention, this 8, 9, 10-year-old boy. He's saying, Mister, Mister. Finally, he says, I look down at this young man and say, What? What would you like to tell me, son? He says, I have an idea. I know how we could get that tractor out. Really? Share it with me. He says, why don't you let some air out of the tires? Let some air out of the tires. Do you know that within minutes, traffic on both sides of the highway started to move? Now, this story is an excellent example of being open to new ideas. Strange ideas, small ideas, ideas you're surprised that work, but make a big impact on your life and on your future, and certainly in this situation. And that's what today is going to be like. It's going to be structured with a lot of different ideas. Some of them seem very obvious. Some of them seem kind of remote. But I'd like to ask you to be open, to open yourself up to new ideas that have the opportunity to make an impact on your future. Now, as you walked in to this classroom this morning, I had an opportunity to speak with some of you, and I asked you, what brings you to this class? And I heard some pretty strategic themes. I understand that there's a lot of frustration. People feel the need to get more done with a lot less resources. There's constant pressure to meet deadlines, and the pressure doesn't seem to be letting up. Some of you said you work very hard all day long, but at the end of the day, feel like you really haven't accomplished very much. With all of that, with all of those concepts, I think one thing we all agree upon is that you're here to gain knowledge. Now, some people think knowledge is power, but I don't agree with that. Knowledge, in and of itself, is not power. Only when it's applied can you really reap the benefits and the power that knowledge has to offer. So when we leave here at the end of the day today, I'm going to ask you to apply what you've learned today. Apply it into your life and into your world to really make an important impact. Now, my job today is going to be essentially to facilitate the conversation and share a lot of ideas with you. I bring over 25 years of business experience, some of it in the corporate world, some of it in an entrepreneurial environment. Most recently, I was with Time Warner Telecom, where I managed field marketing for their 17 East Coast cities. So I had responsibilities from cities as far north as Binghamton and Syracuse, down through Manhattan and Washington, D.C., the Carolinas, and all the way to Miami. So with responsibility for such a diverse market, such diverse population of people and needs, I had the opportunity to work with programs that would be perfect for Syracuse, but then have to modify them because they didn't really have applicability for Manhattan. And certainly a program that was a perfect fit for Manhattan wasn't necessarily a good fit for Columbia, South Carolina. So I had experience managing multiple projects, objectives, deadlines. I had to be very organized, very structured, and very productive. So today I'm going to share with you some of my own personal experiences as well. I look forward to having the opportunity to get to know every single one of you and having a very productive day together.